Can I draw something on my iPad and then have AI generate it? What's up, y'all? So I'm a software engineer. I have a tool that I've been working on to plot historical options. If you're in my Discord, you've used it. It's called Forrest. Nothing crazy. So I'm here in the studio Saturday night working on it. And there's this tool called V0 that Vercel built, which actually lets you, let me show you guys actually. So there's a tool called V0 and we'll pull this over here. All right, this is V0, and what I can do is, let me get a new chat. You can drag in, you can ask it to make up components, right? So generate a component that shows me a list of option expiries. And it'll generate these components. I'll overlay this while it's doing this. It'll generate these components. So I started using it just because doing UI design is painful. It's not perfect. It heavily relies on specific libraries, so everything ends up looking the same, which is fine for what I'm doing, right? Eventually I'll hire designers and all that, or maybe not. It really doesn't matter, right? The tool just needs to look okay. Mostly I use it for research, is why I built this, is specifically for research because I'm an equities options trader. In addition to futures, talked a lot about prop firms because it's been hot this year, but like my bread and butter is equity options, right? So what I wanted to do, the reason I wanted to film this is you could drop screenshots into this tool, which is super cool. Let me actually just show you what that looks like. So you could drop a screenshot in of something that you like, and it will actually, if I make a new tab, hold up, let me get a screenshot of something. So we're gonna take a screenshot of, actually, let's take a screenshot of this, okay? So we'll take a screenshot of the thing it generated, we'll drag it in, okay? And I'll say, use this as a template to create something similar, but use a blue and green color palette. So it'll accept things from like Figma, which is a design tool for anybody who's not in the software world, stuff like that. So I was like, can I draw something on my iPad and then have AI generate it? Because I have something called open interest, so I track open interest. If you watch my videos, I will track open interest and use those for support and resistance levels, right? So as I'm looking at ES and in Q, if there is outsized interest, I'm not gonna do a breakdown of trading strategy, but for key outsized interest levels, I like to be aware of them. And so I want a visualization that is a vertical graph with, you know, bars on the left and right. It's a stacked horizontal bar chart. So I want to create that, okay? The problem is it relies on charting libraries a lot of the time to do this, and the charting libraries are limited. So it doesn't really need to be a charting library. Like I could do this with just like a table or some like HTML divs and CSS is entirely possible, but that's the thing, I don't want to do it. Like I know I could do it, but like my proficiency with CSS goes up and down because like I'll heavily be coding on a project and then I'll be away for like 2 months because I've just got other stuff, like I'm trading, I'm doing YouTube, whatever it is. So programming, not so much. Programming is this logic. It's like, when you've been doing it as long as I have, it's easy to jump into code. Front-end stuff is not easy to jump in and out of, right? At least not for me, maybe for other people, but not for me, right? I'm not a front-end guy. I have some pretty cool, like old school front-end projects. I would say I'm gonna throw them up on the screen, but I'm way too lazy to fetch those. So proficiency goes up and down, but I know what I want. So I'm gonna draw it. It's gonna look crappy because I'm not an artist, but I'm gonna see if it could use conceptually what I draw and then create the components for me. So let's see what it created. It literally took the screenshot of the thing it created and made it another component. So we're gonna try that again. So I'm gonna record my screen here, draw this, and see if that works. Also haven't used Procreate in a long time, so this is gonna be a mission, to say the least. So I'm gonna draw it on here. So what I want is strikes in the middle. So we'll do like, so this is going to be strike, and then we'll do calls and puts on this side. And then for the strikes, let's just do something simple. So let's imagine that this is in the middle, you know, this is the top of the screen. So let's imagine that these are some boxes, right? Maybe like, let's just say 5890. This will be like 5895, 5900, 5905, 5910, 5915. And then I want the bars, okay? I want these to be like bars. So on the call side, this would be like a bar like this. So if the interest level is this, we'll have a bar, and this should be colored in. Literally did not prepare to do this, obviously. I'm doing this live, which is why this will be interesting. So we're gonna have ultimately some stuff like this. So let's imagine that there's a huge call wall here at 5895. And it's honestly, I'm thinking of like a real example. It doesn't need to be real Forrest. It's just, I just can't help but think like that sometimes. So there's probably gonna be some other interest right here as well, right? And this will be colored in. So we're gonna have something like this, and I'll probably speed through this part of the video. And on the put side, we'll just use some other color, maybe blue. And my brain is thinking about how this wouldn't really happen in this way, but whatever. So this is the visualization that I want. It's nothing crazy. There are actually charting libraries that will do stacked graphs like this. The thing is that you have to pay for them, and I don't want to do that. Okay, also, because it's just a bar chart, like with CSS, you essentially could just, the logic essentially to calculate the size of the bars, right? Because it's all gonna be relative. Some days the open interest is gonna be like in the thousands, tens of thousands, some days it's gonna be like 7. So you just find your highest value and you normalize it around a value of 100, and then everything is based off of that, right? And then you color in the length of every bar as a percentage of the biggest bar, right? So the biggest bar is 100%, and then every other bar would be a percentage of that in terms of its length on the screen. So that's actually not hard to do. And when I say it like that, I almost kind of just want to program it, but it's like my goal is not to do that, because once you start doing UI stuff, guys, it just goes on and on forever, like forever and ever. Okay, it literally never ends. And you know, again, I want it to look good, right? I don't want to do something that has all these colors and then it's like, because I suck at CSS, like it just looks terrible. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be key here, and we'll have like a little value here and a little value here. So we're gonna take this, send it to Vercel, and see if that works. So I need to figure out how to export this image. Let me hit share image as a JPEG. Cool, that's done exporting. Cross your fingers, folks. So I've got my untitled artwork. We're gonna drag it in to Vercel. Let's say, I want you to generate a reusable component for graphing open interest levels. I've included a drawing for conceptual drawing for what it should look like. If this doesn't work, I mean, then I'll have to do it a different way. Let's see, I really didn't give it a lot there, so we'll see. All right, it's using recharts, which, I mean, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the recharts library. Let's hope that recharts has, ooh, okay, it did pretty good. Did pretty good. Interesting. The thing is though, is that I want these values in the middle. Okay, I want these values in the middle. That's the thing that it always gets wrong. But that's the point of this video. So what I could do is I could take this, okay, and I could put it into my project, right? But for anybody who's unfamiliar with what this does, let's say I want SPX, I don't know, 6,000 calls that expired. 6,000. So before I decided to do this video, I was fixing a bunch of build errors, and apparently I broke something. Anyways, thanks for watching the first video in this not trading row of my channel, I guess.